Welcome to the Dermatology Studio with Dr. Yusra Ayaz.
When a newborn shows up with a vascular lesion, it can be a major cause for concern. But here's the thing, not all of these spots and marks are created equal. Figuring out the difference between a harmless, self-resolving hemangioma and something more aggressive is absolutely critical. So today, let's break it all down using a series of clinical cases to see how these stories really unfold.
All right, here's our game plan. We're going to start with the basics of congenital hemangiomas. Then we'll jump into some real-world cases of its two main types, RICH and NICH. After that, we'll draw a really important line in the sand between hemangiomas and hemangioendotheliomas, look at some of those intermediate tumors, and finally, we'll touch on the one malignant outlier you've got to know, Angiosarcoma.
So first up, congenital hemangiomas. The number one thing you have to remember about these is that they are benign vascular tumors. And, this is key, they are already fully formed the moment a baby is born. All their growth happens before birth in utero. Now, let's break this down a bit. That second point is a huge deal. Unlike the more common infantile hemangiomas that pop up after birth, these congenital types are GLUT1 negative. That's a protein marker that really helps us tell them apart. They don't have a preference for boys or girls, they tend to show up on the head and limbs, and get this, you can sometimes even spot them on a prenatal ultrasound as early as 12 weeks.
Okay, so congenital hemangiomas basically come in two main flavors, and they're defined by what they do after the baby is born. Let's explore them through a couple of quick clinical cases.
All right, take a look at this first scenario. We've got a newborn with this pretty distinct blue-purple lesion. Notice those features? Some central ulceration and that pale ring around the edge. But honestly, the biggest clue is its behavior. It shrinks and it shrinks fast. So what's that telling you? If you were thinking rich, you nailed it. This is a classic presentation of a rapidly involuting congenital hemangioma. The name tells you exactly what it does. It involutes or shrinks super quickly right after birth. So, the crucial thing to remember is that even though rich lesions go away on their own, they're not totally without risk. If they're really large, they can sometimes cause a temporary drop in platelet counts or even some hemodynamic instability in a newborn, so you've got to watch them closely. And on ultrasound, they just look like a uniform dark mass because of how dense they are. Okay, on to our second case. Now, this one might look a little similar at first, a purplish plaque, but its behavior is the complete opposite. It's been there since day one, it's warm when you touch it, and it's growing right along with the child. It never shrinks. So, what does that tell us? And that brings us right to our second type, NICH, the Non-Involuting Congenital Hemangioma. And again, the name says it all. This one is not going anywhere. It sticks around for life. You know that warmth and the prominent arterial flow you see on an ultrasound? That's all because of the high blood flow going through the lesion. It helps explain exactly why it persists and just keeps growing with the child. Unlike a RICH, a NICH is a permanent fixture unless it's surgically removed. This side-by-side comparison just lays it all out so clearly. The table is perfect for showing the key differences. But if you remember one thing, it's the cores column. RICH goes away, NICH stays. And that one fact dictates everything else, from what you see on an ultrasound to how you treat it. For RICH, it's usually just watch and wait unless there's trouble. For NICH, you might be looking at surgery down the line. Okay, now we're going to make a hard pivot. We've just covered benign congenital hemangiomas, but what about this other similar-sounding term, hemangioendothelioma? These are a totally different beast, a completely different class of vascular neoplasms, and it's so important to know the difference. This comparison is just so critical. A hemangioma is benign. A hemangioendothelioma, on the other hand, is considered locally aggressive. They tend to be way bigger, they infiltrate surrounding tissue, and here is a massive clue. They can be associated with severe thrombocytopenia, dangerously low platelets. This is part of a life-threatening complication called Kazabak-Merritt phenomenon, where the tumor basically acts like a sponge for platelets, causing them to plummet. So let's take a closer look at these intermediate tumors. We call them that because they're locally aggressive, but they don't typically metastasize. They're stuck in this weird middle ground between truly benign and truly malignant. All right, here's our third case. We've got an infant with a firm, growing, purplish lesion. Now listen to the key phrases here. Ill-defined, locally invasive, and critically associated with thrombocytopenia. What diagnosis is screaming at you right now? This is a Kaposiform Hemangioendothelioma, or KHE for short. that link to the Kaposiform phenomenon, that severe drop in platelets, is the absolute classic high-yield clue for this diagnosis. It's the thing you have to look for.
It's a tricky one, isn't it? It's often described as an aggressive benign tumor, and you're probably thinking, wait, how can it be both? Well, it's aggressive because it's locally invasive and can do a lot of damage to nearby tissues. But it's benign because it doesn't spread to distant parts of the body. Still, that local aggression and the risk of life-threatening bleeding make it a very serious condition.
Now for a bit of a contrast. Case number 4, a young child with a reddish-brown plaque. Notice the difference in tempo here. This one is slowly enlarging and asymptomatic. It's a much less dramatic picture than the KHE case we just saw.
The diagnosis here is a tufted angioma. The best way to think about this is as KHE's less aggressive cousin. They're on the same spectrum. And while it's usually slower growing and much less aggressive, it's important to note that it can sometimes also be associated with Kaposiform phenomenon, which just highlights that clinical overlap.
Okay, finally, we have to talk about the true malignant outlier in this group. Everything we've discussed so far has been either benign or locally aggressive. This next one is different. This is a cancer.
Take a close look at the clues in this last case. First, the patient is older, not an infant or a child. That's a huge shift. The lesion starts out looking like a simple bruise, but then it starts to change. It gets bigger, it gets lumpy and nodular, and it starts to bleed. These are all major red flags for malignancy.
The diagnosis here is Angiosarcoma. This is a rare malignant tumor of the blood vessels. Unlike everything else we've talked about today, this has a high potential to metastasize, and it has a very aggressive clinical course that requires urgent and intensive treatment.
So, look at the journey we just took. We went from a benign, rich lesion that just vanishes on its own, to a persistent niche, to the locally aggressive KHE, and finally to a true malignancy with angiosarcoma. What this really shows is that the story a lesion tells, how it behaves over time, is often the single most important clue to its identity. The crucial takeaway here is to pay attention to the details. The patient's age, how fast something is growing, and any other symptoms can mean the difference between simple reassurance.
Thanks for watching. Hit like, share, and subscribe to the Dermatology Studio. Ask your skin queries in the comments below.